Hello, and welcome to What's Your Ripple, a podcast capturing tales and stories of how ordinary people are making extraordinary ripples in people's lives, changing their lives forever. What do I mean when I say what's your ripple? Well, it's the influence someone has on you that changes the course of your life. That looking back on it now, you can see how their influence made a ripple effect in your life, not only changing your life, but the lives you influence as well. That is your ripple. I'm JJ, your host, and I'm here to help individuals tell their story, helping them shine a light on that one person that made a life-changing ripple in their life and what they're doing with it today. My first guest, well, that's me. I am like to introduce myself on this first episode of What's My Ripple. So who am I? Well, I go by many names. My given name of Jeffrey John Hawley, my nickname JJ, the name my two kids call me, Dad, of course, and the name that makes me smile, makes my heart smile, Grandpa. Yes, I was even called Major Hawley at one point, the last rank I held before I retired out of the Air Force. But who am I really? I'm an addict in recovery. Today, tomorrow, the rest of my life. I'm an alcoholic with 5 years of sobriety so far. A survivor of 3 combat tours in Iraq, and a very grateful dreamer that is well aware of my ripple, past and present. So what is my ripple today? Well, for that I need to go back to 2006, when I met the one person who forever changed my life. The location, Baghdad, Iraq, in the international zone, October 2006. The scene is an office building. My rank, captain. My job, contracting. That's working behind a desk. I walked in the building early one morning, the start of my second week on the job. Heading down the hall to my office, I passed an office where I see a Navy commander sitting at his desk with his hat on. I said, "Good morning, Commander," as I walked by, but then stopped. I turned around and walked into his office and said, "Excuse me, Commander, would you please remove your cover?" A cover is what we call a hat, and you're not supposed to wear your hat indoors. His response was salty like a sailor. He said, "I will not. We wear our covers on board during war." I respectfully chuckled to myself. He is a superior officer and a coworker, so I choose my words wisely. I said, "Sir, with all due respect, we are not on a ship, and we are working in a joint environment. You set the tone. Do you want Air Force and Army personnel here in the office wearing their covers inside?" Well, at that, he got mad. He stood up behind his desk, locking eyes with me. My heart races in preparation for what's about to come my way. He reaches up, grabs his hat, and slams it on the desk. He says, "F you!" I said, "Thank you, sir," and went on my way. Later that day, he stopped in my office and asked if I smoked cigars, to which I said I did. He said to meet him at the barracks smoke pit later that night at 9. That night over cigars became a weekly tradition that laid the foundation of one of the greatest friendships I've ever had. His name was Navy Commander Philip Murphy Sweet. He was born and raised in Idaho, and so was I. He was married with 3 kids. I was married with 2. Every Monday night, no matter how late we worked, the commander and I and an awesome Air Force lady joined us from the beginning. We would all meet up for cigars on those Monday nights. It was our weekly therapy, a chance to vent, to cry, to laugh, to love, to grow. almost 6 months later on a cigar night, we were sitting around smoking and talking about going home. That's when the commander broke the news that he was extending his tour by a couple weeks. Why? He said that his project of building the first courthouse in the new liberated Iraq was almost complete, and he wanted to stay to see it through. We take ownership in what we do, and this project was his gift to the Iraqis. He told us his wife wasn't happy with the extension, but she understood. I said I'll just have to have a cold one for him when I got home, and that we need to get our families together one day, to which we both agreed. I was the first of the three of us to rotate home. 2 days after I got home, I received the news that my hero, mentor, and best friend, Commander Murphy Sweet, was killed in action. The Humvee that he was riding in was hit by an improvised explosive device. The commander, along with 2 others, were killed instantly. The driver survived, but with critical injuries. That was crushing, getting that news. Man, that hurt, and still does. I felt so guilty for so long that I made it home and he didn't. There were 4 times during that tour I came close to being killed, but for some reason I was spared. Unfortunately, Commander Murphy Sweet wasn't. My gratitude for his sacrifice and for his family's sacrifice is so immense that I've changed my life because of it. And I believe that that sacrifice can only be best served by living my best life, mentally, physically, and spiritually, so that I may help others. Have you ever seen the movie Saving Private Ryan? Well, that scene at the end of the movie is the ripple effect that I'm talking about. That influence has taken a while. After that tour, I went back to Iraq 2 more times, then continued on proudly serving for many more years. And finally, after 27 years of service, I retired. I continued on in my profession of contracting. I even went to Afghanistan as a civilian contractor for a year, writing contracts in support of the troops. Service before self is what we live, and that's what I did, or thought I was doing. Service before self, as long as I could finish in a bottle. I never drank on the job, but I sure functioned through many, many hangovers. I'm was what you call, a functional alcoholic. Yeah, I was heading for an early grave, that's for sure. But that's another story for another time. See, Murphy's influence, his ripple, was ever present, especially during my really dark moments of my life. And I fought against it until one day I embraced it. And I set a date. The day I turned 50, with Murphy in my head and my children and family supporting me, I got sober. Murphy is with me every day. He is my ripple. He, along with my children, are the foundation of the gratitude I have for being alive. He's the reason I pause, love myself, and think about my ripple in life. Now, today, I've found another way to serve my country by starting in my community. See, I'm the creator and founder of Ripple Retreat, a non-alcohol turnkey event center and recovery center that's making positive ripples in the community. If you want to know more about it, please visit my site, ripple-retreat.com. But I do want to highlight one thing about Ripple Retreat. Once we get up functioning and making a profit, I vow to give 75% of that profit to the community, to the town of West Paris, Maine, which is where we're located, and one local charity, that charity being the Pink Feather Foundation. If you have never heard of the Pink Feather Foundation, please Google them. Google Pink Feather Foundation, Norway, Maine. They are an beautiful organization making beautiful ripples in children's lives. I'm also the creator and host of What's Your Ripple, this podcast, which to me is a way that I can tell my story and help others tell theirs, hoping to help you, the listener, be aware of the ripple you are making in life. Thank you so much for listening, and please pause, love yourself, and be aware of your ripple. With love and gratitude, JJ.